Merry Chrustmus everyone, and welcome back to episode 2 of my series on BoulderDash, a game that I'm currently working on. Here's a quick preview of what I have planned for this video. Told you it was quick. By the way, I started this adventure with a problem. If you read the very long description in this video, then you'd know what I'm talking about, but to sum it up, on Halloween of all days, I had a few friends around and I was just about to show them something on my PC. Unfortunately though, when I turned my PC on, it blue screened and it wouldn't turn on after that.
Hello?
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 Alright Herbie, you can vouch, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well anyway, after 4 weeks of not having the PC, the guys who were fixing it decided that the best solution was either just to wipe the whole SSD drive, or I could buy another £200 SSD drive, and use something called an enclosure to move my old files over to the new one. I ultimately decided to just wipe the drive, as I had already backed up most everything not too long ago, so it wouldn't be too much of a loss. Always remember to back up your files. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I lost everything, including all my apps, including Unity, which meant that I had to re-download everything. Very sad, I know. Importantly though, on my pre-wiped PC, Unity was broken in some way. I could only build games in the standard or core render pipeline, or shitty graphics mode in layman's terms. But when my PC got wiped, I had to re-download Unity, and I had a thought. I wonder if that problem is fixed by now. So I made a little URP test, gave it a build, and it worked. I am so happy about this information. Right, the people who skipped to the action earlier should all be showing up by now, which, if you did ignore my monologue, first of all, rude, but you really didn't miss much, kinda just me talking and stuff. Anyway, let's crack in, shall we? I started by booting up the old backed up version of BoulderDash, which just... hideous, I know. I knew what I had to do. I was dabbling in the idea of having BoulderDash in HD ultra high definition graphics. I gave it a test briefly with the default Boulder, and I believe the results speak for themselves. Same settings by the way, same texture even, but it just looks so much better. It's official, this is now going to be a HDRP game. Because I mean, look at this. It's a shocking difference. You may not have noticed, but in that short footage of me mindlessly rolling around, the gravity was practically tripled for the boulder. You see, the game used to be a lot more floaty, which was alright, but it lacked that snappiness I was looking for. So I just cranked up the gravity a bit, and oh, it's so much funner to play around in now. The boulder actually feels like real, as much as a sentient boulder of a face is, of course. Along with the new and improved shading, I thought that the boulder was looking kind of flat, so I upgraded the textures with, amongst other things, a cool normal map using such textures as Voronoi and Noise. Wow! But I was having some UV issues though, so like an idiot, I thought I could just roll up and manually remesh the whole thing. Spoiler alert, it didn't work! What a fool I was. That is one day of my life that I'll never get back. Anyway, for some reason my next move was to just make a flagpole for some sick reason, and to go with it, I made some confetti using Oh My Beloved. And while making it, I wrote a script. I have gone long enough playing around in this silent hellscape, so I reckon it's about time I added some sound effects. And honestly, I think I implemented this exponentially better than my old method in Psychic. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I couldn't find any good boulder sound effects online, and I don't exactly have a spare boulder lying around, so I just hopped into Rock of Ages 3 and recorded some myself. Although when it came to actually programming this, I think you can see my hesitation in this clip. Eventually though, I actually figured it out all on my own this time, but there was a bit of a problem. You see, the volume of this looping rolling sound effect was directly tied to the velocity of the player on the X and Z axis, but keen-eyed viewers would realise an issue with that. I'll give you a second to think. Got it? No? Okay. Basically, velocity goes from speeds of 1 to -1, not 0. So moving right would play sound properly because your X velocity would be in the positive numbers, but moving left wouldn't play anything because your X velocity would be in the negative numbers. Well anyway, this was bugging me for a while, until I asked my good buddy from school Fraser about it, and he just said, well why don't you just have it so that if it's in the negatives, then you flip it to the positives. I tried it when I got home, and it actually worked. Thank you Fraser, very cool. For the jumping sound effect it was really easy, I just made it play when I jump. Pretty self-explanatory. Although for the landing sound effect I decided to do something a little cooler. You see, I could have just made it so that when you land, it plays the sound effect. But no, that would be too easy. Instead, I made it so that the volume of the land sound effect is dependent on how fast you're moving down. It's very cool now. To test my mechanics on an actual map, I just threw together a quick loop using the terrain game objects, and I gotta say, it's actually really fun. Finally, I've created something that's actually fun to play around in and create. Because God only knows that making the levels and playtesting for Psychic was not fun at all. Also, I realised a method of UV mapping. I don't know why I didn't just try this before. But anyway, I can finally have that glorious, delicious, nose ambient occlusion. Finally, I just took this time to double the player's texture resolution. And that is all I wanted to do before I edit this video in time for Christmas. But to finish it off, here's a sneak peek of what I have planned for the future. Right before that though, I just want to say, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, because we are this close to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you.